Open up, Mr. Gamble. Mr. Gamble,
Sir.
Mr. Payton,
Sir.
gentlemen, both of you are charged with cases in here. Both of you are charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You know, looking at your information, I see that Mr. Payton, both of you guys, and Mr. Gamble are also charged with aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon. However, your felony bond was $10,000 and yours was $70,000. I don't understand why. We will soon find out. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. Okay.
On November 7th, 2024, the officer conducted a traffic stop on a motor vehicle after observing it violate Texas Transportation Code 547.602, which requires mirrors, and the officer confirmed 5 traffic citations. The driver was placed into custody for those citations, and the defendant, Payton, was sitting in the front passenger seat where a black extended magazine was observed in plain view between the defendant's feet. Defendants 1 and 2, the second defendant being Gamble, were both detained, and a probable cause search revealed a black backpack found to be concealing 2 semi-automatic pistols with a loaded round in the chamber, not in a concealed holster, and within the wingspan of both defendants, as well as 37.8 grams of marijuana.
Tell me about the ag rob.
So the ag rob for Mr.
For
Payton,
defendants, same day on 11/8.
I just want to confirm, Your Honor. It looks like the ag robs are different days. For Payton, it's July 27th, and then for Mr. Gamble, it's August 26th. So they're 2 separate incidents for aggravated robbery. So to begin with Mr. Payton, the aggravated robbery on July 27th, an officer was dispatched to a robbery at a vape time store, and the complainant said an unmasked defendant came inside the store and the complainant buzzed him into the door. The defendant looked around and then walked to the door and let 3 other masked men into the store. One of the 3 men pointed a gun to the left side of the complainant's neck, and then the other 3 men took money and merchandise before running from the door. The surveillance video showed the incident and showed defendants leaving in a silver Kia sedan. Officers were able to trace the sedan back to a co-defendant. They were also able to see that the Kia had been involved in a prior traffic stop. In that stop, the passenger of the car was viewed in the officer body-worn camera. That person was the unmasked first person who entered the store and let the other 3 men into the store before helping take cash and merchandise. And to move on to yes.
There were multiple, I think it was this defendant, Mr. Gamble, was one of 5 suspects robbing vape stores. And there are multiple incidents of the robbery. So we can certainly read PC Judge, which is very long, but we're happy to read it.
Is it the same MO where it's in, I mean, are we talking about just like an enterprise type situation? Like an engaging and organized? Okay.
So
I'm just, you know, I give my question is I want to know how dangerous these guys are, you know, and obviously we've got ag robs on both of them, perhaps even multiple stops of ag robs. So Mr. Payton, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm now putting an ankle monitor on you and I want to know where you are at all times. And I'm giving you a curfew of 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I don't want you out in the middle of the night and I'm barring you from going to any, just got to be careful in this life, man. You got but one. You end up with the wrong person. You hang with dogs to get those fleas. You're going to end up with a 40-year sentence back there. And I'm going to tell you now, living in a 6x9 for 40 years is no way to live life. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm also ordering you not to be in possession of weapons, not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. If I find that you're smoking weed, you're using anything like that, I'm going to put you in jail. I'll deem you a public danger and I'm going to make your bond so freaking high. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
17.
What do you do for a living?
I'm employed right now.
Why?
I'm trying to get my.
I'm now making that a condition of your bond as well. You and I are going to be so close. It's going to be ridiculous. I am making it a condition of your bond that you get your GED, and I'm going to bring you back in 2 weeks to see what you have done to get your GED. You need to start working on it. We have enough people in custody as it is, and what you do now will affect you for the next 40 years of your life. You start acting like a knucklehead out there, you're either going to be dead or with a 50-year sentence, and that's not a way to go through life. Do you understand? I will appoint your lawyer today.
And Your Honor, in regard to Gamble, it appears that the bond may be higher as officers presented the facts of both the current case as well as a separate case that's unfiled. It's an HPD case to which the defendant confessed to also being involved. So it seems there's also an ongoing investigation.
Do we know who put the gun to the neck?
It was the defendant as well, defendant Gamble.
Gamble?
And he also put a gun to the complainant's face as they were stealing marijuana and other items.
You hear everything I just said over there, Mr. Gamble? Same thing applies to you, man. We have enough black and brown people in custody as it is. We don't need any more. You don't need to live life with a 40-year sentence because of some stupid scheisse, man. You know? Do you know if you're going to bond out?
I'm gonna be talking to this mom later, Judge. So
Okay,
we'll have
if
to-
you bond out, I'm ordering you under home confinement. I don't want you out anywhere. Do you understand? You will get a GPS monitor on your ankle, no weapons. I don't want you to talk with any of the co-defendants in any of these cases. I don't want you two hanging out with each other at all. You know, you may be great guys by yourselves, but when you're together, perhaps it's a Tasmanian devil. No, thanks. We don't want it. I'm going to tell you both of you now. I will do everything in my power to protect my Houston at all costs. And I don't care if you put you in jail at 17, you're kicking and screaming and this. No. Do you understand?
Sir.
You were lucky to get out as it is on this type of charge, as it just count your lucky stars now, Mr. Payton.
Sir.
All right. So,
Is that felony pending in both subjects that's what role it's at?
for sure. And then, Felicia, so GPS prior to release on Mr. Gamble, no weapons, no alcohol, no drugs, random urinalysis. Did you graduate from high school?
Yes, he did.
You did? Okay. All right, John. So I guess we'll stay in touch with Mr. Gamble. All right, Mr. Gamble, good luck. We'll just keep us in the loop about what goes on. Mr. Payton, I'm keeping you ever so close. I'm not letting you go far. Do you understand? Okay. I need him to fill out an application. Do you mind giving an application? I'm going to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I'm going to have you sign a receipt of Victoria, and then I'm going to have you meet with Felicia for your bond conditions. Then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box. Okay. Are you Jesse Joe Proctor?
Yes, Judge.
Proctor, you're charged with terroristic threat. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
I do apologize. Internet's being slow. It's loading right now.
You tell me when you're ready.
Yes, Judge. Apologies.
No problem.
We're ready, Judge.
Go for it.
On November 7th, 2024, officers were dispatched to a burglary for residence in progress call at a residence in Harris County, Texas. The officers found the suspect standing in front of the complainant's residence, and the defendant is the complainant's ex-boyfriend, and they had been dating for 2 months, and they had recently ended the relationship. The defendant had been sending threatening text messages to the complainant, stating that someone was going to die tonight and that it was going to be the complainant. The complainant and her mother were going to die. And he also sent messages that he is going to take his gun to the complainant's house. The officers observed the text messages and confirmed that the defendant sent them by asking the defendant for his phone number and comparing them to the messages to get the complainant's attention. The complainant stated she feared for her life because she stays at home alone and would like to pursue charges.
Got it. All right, Mr. Proctor, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have contact with this person and not to be in possession of weapons. Do you understand?
Yes, Judge.
If you violate these conditions, I will put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds, sir. Can you file the no contact and no weapons, please? There is a protective order that has been issued in this case. Get to know it, because if you violate the protective order, the state can and will file additional charges of violation of protective order, and that's one of the worst misdemeanor cases you can pick up. Violate conditions on a VPO, I can hold you at no bond, zero bond, and I will do it in a heartbeat to protect every person of this county. You understand? What do you do for a living?
I do operation support for a transportation company.
How much money do you make a month?
Approximately about 5,000. I just started the job like 2 weeks ago.
We're going to give you time to hire lawyers. So I will first have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, I'll get you to take a seat in the jury box. We're going to have to wait for your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it. And after that, you'll be free to go. Don't go anywhere near this person. Life is too short. Do you understand? I'm telling you, life is way too short to live in a 6x9 box because of one person. There's 10 gajillion fish in the sea. Move on. It's over. You understand?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, man. Come on.
Right this way. Roger.
Christian Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez, you're charged with failure to stop and give information. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
One moment, Your Honor.
Judge.
Sure.
Says,
Tell me when you're ready.
I am ready, Judge.
Okay.
On November 9th, 2024, an officer was dispatched to a vehicle crash hit and run at the intersection of West Sam Houston Parkway. Dispatch advised the defendant struck this complaining witness's vehicle and an electric pole and then fled the scene on foot. Upon arrival, officers saw complainant's vehicle, which sustained damage of approximately $2,000, as well as the defendant's vehicle, which was totaled against the retention cables of the electric pole. Complainant advised officers the defendant left the scene without providing his name or vehicle insurance. A witness on the scene provided a description of the defendant, and several of the defendant's family members arrived on scene, one of whom identified the defendant by his name and date of birth. Defendant's mother later called dispatch and advised that her son had been in an accident and fled the scene because he was scared.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? You're not allowed to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care if there's a burning building. I don't care if Jesus comes down and needs a ride to church. You get into a car and drive, there's going to be a heavy toll. I'm having you sign an affidavit promising me you're not going to drive. I can have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. It's an offense in and of itself. Do you understand? If you want to drive, go get a license, get liability insurance, and then we can talk. But until that point, don't. How old are you, sir?
23,
What do you do for a living?
refineries.
I'm going to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I'll get you to Victoria where we'll have you sign a receipt and we'll get you out of here. When you come back, please have a lawyer, sir.
All right, Judge, next is page 15. Stokes.